We've qualified for the World Cup. Go and compete.
Hello and welcome to the PUPcast. My name's Kieran and I'm joined by Adrian.
Hello.
And Connor.
Crack.
After an eventful weekend, we've just tuned into the Palace Man City game. Not as entertaining as perhaps we might have hoped.
No, I think we were all hoping City would bottle it again.
They nearly did. The first 40 minutes were, a bit tight, I thought.
Were they?
Well, 2 goals in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
That kind of
Came out of nowhere. They shut you down pretty bad there. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did. But I thought it was a game that we perhaps could have frustrated for a little bit longer. If you can frustrate City with 40 minutes of 80 possession.
Could have had a penalty.
Yes, I will, I think I've spoken out about VAR in the past where
VAR is shit in the bed right now.
it kind of is. It kind of is. But that was a blatant penalty, yeah, for sure.
Which one was this?
The one that went to the VAR review, you remember?
The Zaha one.
Zaha,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
Should have been a penalty.
this is what I'm confused by. You go to the referee refers to VAR, or VAR automatically check any penalty opportunity, right?
Yeah. Seems that way.
So the ref didn't see it, or apparently didn't see the foul in it. It goes upstairs to another bunch of referees who didn't see Zaha with 2 hands on De Bruyne's back and a foot between his feet.
Well, I thought the ref said no penalty, and then they just said, we're going to review it. But they back the ref every time, no matter what, even when it's blatantly wrong, like in this case.
Well, I think it has to be a clear and obvious mistake by
but,
the ref.
I mean,
that's
it's
not
a mistake.
When is it not though? Like that was.
I mean, it's hands, but it's not an absolute swipe. Do you know what I mean?
But what's a clear and obvious penalty then? If you absolutely bundle a fella over.
I think it's gotten some things right. I think there's been some offsides given, and they've reviewed it and cancelled it out.
The offsides have been fine because with offsides it's like definite. They go into millimeters with their little yellow bars and the dotted lines. Like when Sterling a few weeks ago, when Sterling got like an offside goal just for his the tip of his shoulder or something or his arm, but you can pinpoint an offside exactly using that technology, but you can't pinpoint a foul exactly. Or
this is the thing, because in offside, like you said, it's either yes or no when they do it down to the millimeter.
Yeah.
But with a foul in the penalty box, should they then be introducing something like when the player's foot, there's connection between the player's feet, or when there's something that they use in American football is like roughing or pass interference, because they're a bit clear.
Because strictly speaking, I mean, when players shepherd a ball out, like they block off someone and they kind of with their backs to them and they let the ball run out of play and they're like shouldering them off it but not touching it. It's like they're not getting the ball. They're shouldering someone off the ball, and contact there.
And there's more contact in
that's
those. Yeah.
Really, that's a foul by letter of the law, but everyone does it.
But
sorry, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's probably not going to be there so much with fouls, just because it's kind of open to interpretation, and if it's a clear and obvious foul, the ref might say, yeah, I see that he's after sliding in, but I thought he got the ball. And then VAR would go, well, actually, on this angle, we can see he didn't touch the ball, and it is a penalty.
Yeah.
But that's the only time I can see it really being used to overrule the ref.
Yeah.
With a foul. Do you know what I mean? But I think we'll see it more with the offside.
I think the problem here is in other sports. Well, I know I referred to American football already, but in rugby, I forget what
Don't mention rugby right now.
Yeah, it's a bit sore, I think. But I think the difference is with the touch judge or the assistant refs in rugby, they're an entirely separate entity to the on-pitch referees, whereas VAR are other referees. These are guys that go to conferences together regularly, discuss rules regularly. Does it not undermine the other referee if you're on the same level as him, basically telling him he's wrong?
I guess there is a bit of that. I did see something about VAR didn't overrule the ref because they didn't want to undermine him. I saw one article.
Yeah, that was the Arsenal game, I think. Pepe.
Yes.
There was some review of Pepe going down, and I think that's what it was, that they thought it was a foul, but they didn't want to give it because they didn't want to undermine the ref.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Does that happen as much? As like maybe in the future they'll change it, and they're still testing it, and it's still new and things. But like, I mean, a lot of people. I'm just saying it now. I'm pro VAR, right?
Wow.
I am because
Brave.
yeah, because tons of people are like, it's destroying the game and it's not even working. And what I'm sure if you got the statistics, it's mostly doing its job. It's just that people are like, oh, but sure, it was only millimeters. Well, if he's millimeters offside, he's fucking offside.
Yeah.
You know? And there is still going to be, like, I mean, even, you know, they're going, oh, sure, they still couldn't figure out if it was a foul. Sometimes it's not going to be possible. Well, you see that in rugby as well.
Well, what seems to be happening, what I think, is that on the letter of the law things that you can pinpoint, like offsides and handballs, they're super harsh. Like, there's no leeway at all. Like, you know, if someone handballs it accidentally in the box, VAR says penalty. Or, like, even if they had no choice, if they handle it in the box, penalty or whatever.
Yeah.
If there's offside by, like, a nose offside, VAR says. But then if there's a foul, they always give benefit of the doubt 100% of the time. So, like, when there's leeway, they give 100% leeway. And when there's letter of law stuff, they are 100% strict on it.
I think they'll bring in more rules probably next season to say this is exactly what a foul is, or this, you know, because that's what they've done now with the handball. If there's a handball in the lead up to a goal, even if it's accidental, it's ruled out. And I think they'll have to start doing that probably for defensive handballs and for fouls and things like that. They'll just have to, because then there's no question of it's the referee's interpretation, and then when it goes to VAR, it's that referee's interpretation.
That's it. I think maybe we're kind of targeting the wrong aspect here, being VAR being wrong or right.
It should be the refs who are targeting.
Well, no, maybe actually the rules of the game.
Yeah.
Maybe the rules of the game are so unclear and ambiguous that perhaps that's always been the problem.
Well, I think that they are intentionally ambiguous to sort of say, like, give it up to the ref so that when, like, there's a bit of contact or whatever, if it's in the spirit of the game or whatever you want to put in quotation marks, the ref will let it go, but then they'll say, oh, that was a bit too much, then they'll give it a foul.
Yeah.
And there's sort of a bit of a understanding about how much is too much and how much is
It's true, and I think, though, there's no point having cameras watching replays if there's that whole, you know, I like it too because it keeps things flowing. You'll have a game where there is no checks, there's very few fouls, and they're entertaining games. And you know those games, it's usually poor teams, but those games are just stop-start with fouls and corners and things like that. Yeah, I can see it, but I think it's perhaps the rules need a overview now.
I like I said, I think it'll only be used for fouls if, like, the ref says, I thought it was shoulder to shoulder, and they say, well, it was, but he also stood on his ankle or something while he did it. You missed that. And then the ref will go, oh, shit, yeah, I didn't see that. Penalty. Okay. But I don't think... They need to change the rules to make it more relevant for fouls, things like that, I think.
Okay, that's fair. Going back to the game, I suppose. Gabriel Jesus.
Forgot all about that.
Yeah, we've been building all that tension up for the past month.
You just didn't want to talk about Palace losing.
Well, I'll get to it now. Don't you worry.
Although, when Benteke was coming on, me and Adrian were laughing about it, like thinking about how you would react
and how close he went.
And straight away.
Yeah. No, I mean,
he got a new contract.
All would have been forgiven if that goal went in. I don't have the same, I guess, uncontrollable rage now that I did during the week. But for those of you that are unaware, Christian Benteke, the guy who scored 4 goals in 53 games, something like that.
It's like a centre-back record. Like.
Sacco has more goals than him. Sacco and James Tompkins have more goals than him.
Really?
Yep.
What are they thinking? What are they thinking, giving this guy a new contract?
Well, here's the logic, but it's not very logical. Welcome to the Crystal Palace boardroom.
Okay.
So, he would go on a free this summer. His contract is running down.
How much is he on?
100. You have to get that in, don't you?
Spit it out.
He's on £120,000 per week.
Surely one of your top paid.
Yeah, well, I believe him and Sacco, and it was Johan Kubai were as well. But I'd say Zaha's up there now as well. I think Zaha's probably the top paid player.
Good God.
But we tried to flog him to China in the summer. There weren't any takers, or there wasn't a deal that we saw fitting, which it surprises me because I'd have taken a fucking fried chicken from Morley's at this stage.
Yeah.
I like how China's like the escape route. Like, it's the emergency button. Like, we can't sell them to a real team. See if anyone in China wants to pay 50 million for.
And they do.
They do.
It's very strange. But yeah, it's to lock him into a 1-year extension so that we don't lose all we've invested in him.
Yeah.
So I think the hope is that perhaps January or the summer he can be sold and we can salvage some of the money we've paid him. But the thing is that I just know he won't go in the summer. He'll go out on a free next year, and we will have paid him an extra £7 million to.
Is that what that's?
I think it's something like £7 million.
Okay,
Yeah.
no.
The other thing is, you might know, but Christian Benteke he's only 28 years old.
Oh, yeah.
You think he's a lot older, wouldn't you?
Well, I kind of knew because he was at Liverpool. I knew he was young enough when he went to Liverpool.
Which
25, 26. Something
yeah,
like that.
which is strange because he's a unit. He's been a unit of a man since he's been at Villa.
Yeah. Well, he was great at Villa for like a season.
He was. The other thing is as well, right? We've Benteke, and we have signed him to an extension, but we don't play to his strengths. We never really did. It was just a strange buy.
Yeah, but he is the kind of guy that on paper should do a job for any team, probably outside the top 6. If Everton bought him tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, because he's a really,
Everton sign.
he's a really good option.
They can have him.
But he's a great option. Or if you're going to play the way they played him at Villa, where it's just target man, do you know? He'll do great, but other than that, he's just an option. Like, even when Liverpool sold him, a lot of people were kind of saying he's a good option to have.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to play him.
Yeah.
But if you're 1-0 down and it's 80th minute, fucking bring him on, and he'd do what he did today and nearly score.
I feel like that's the lowest ranking a good player can have is, he's a good option. You should keep him around just in case.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're usually just big, rocky, tall centre forwards. It's like
Andy Carroll,
Carroll,
Ricky Lambert.
Giroud.
See, Liverpool have bought all these options and been this actually sucks. Like,
all these options are terrible.
Can you imagine in some alternative scenario or universe that it wasn't Origi scoring the winner against Barcelona? It was Benteke
or Lambert.
Danny Ings. What could have been? Yeah, Balotelli. What could have been?
Yeah.
What could have been?
Or Andy Carroll even.
Fucking hell.
And Carroll has done it.
Imagine. Corner taken quickly. Carroll!
Carroll won't be able to react that quickly. Corner taken quickly. Andy Carroll has fallen over in the box.
Oh, lads. Speaking of strikers, I suppose, keeping in the theme of that, we saw Aguero benched, part of Pep's ongoing roulette.
Yeah.
He was in an accident during the week, apparently with no injuries. Did Gabriel Jesus step up?
He did, yeah. Well, he always does. It's just the only reason he doesn't play every week is Aguero is currently better, even though, he's getting up there.
Yeah.
Jesus will take over, and he's fucking class and always has been. Unfortunately for everyone else in the league, it's sickening.
Kind of is. Similar to the Benteke situation. If you perhaps not, but if you have an option, he's a good option. But Jesus on the bench,
that's an option. Like,
that's a
good option.
I don't know, Andy Carroll, Jesus. I know which one I prefer. Jesus. Is it time now? Perhaps that Aguero gets frustrated, or Man City maybe cash in on him and make Jesus their starting number 9 or 10.
I could see him go end of the season.
Me too.
Maybe, but I kind of felt that last season. He might get one more season, maybe, because he's
still top of the line. Like he still scored like 8 goals.
I keep thinking he's older than he is.
Yeah,
I don't think he's 30 yet.
I'm not sure, but I think he's a similar player to Ronaldo and Messi, where I don't think age is applicable, and I don't think it ever has been. He's always just been excellent.
But I did read that he was a doubt for this game with an injury that was separate to the car crash, and he always picks up those little
car crashes.
But like he always misses like 2-3 games here, then he's back and he'll score 2-3 goals, and then he's out for another. You know, it happens every season, and I could see Pep maybe going. Well, number one, I could see Pep going fuck this and leaving anyway. But if he stays for another few seasons, I think he will kind of go. You know what, Jesus is well able and is probably going to be fit more consistently than Aguero.
Because at this point, it's more like Jesus is wasting his career. Like he should be starting for any other team.
He was like 20 when he arrived, so he must be about 24.
It's probably something like that.
Yeah, like he's not that young anymore.
Sure, we'll just say he is.
Well, Flynn will edit it out anyway.
Yeah,
He's 20.
I'll Google it at some point.
But yeah, he's young. He's young. It's the other thing too. I guess he's just waiting for his chance. It's going to come, like we kind of said.
But he's not that young, is what we were saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know,
okay.
he is wasting years. Like,
But is he wasting years? Premier League titles, still featuring. I mean, he's still getting minutes.
He's not the man, though.
No, he's not the man. Does he want to be the man?
He's not the man. And
Well, I would think any good player would want to be. Any striker, any good striker, I think you would want to be.
True, bit
I
of an
think
ego.
for someone like him, he wants to play for Brazil. I
Okay.
think that's the big thing. And if you're playing every week for Man City, you're going to play for Brazil. But then you've Bobby Firmino, and I think there is a debate about who starts for Brazil at the minute, because it was Jesus for the World Cup, and it's been Firmino kind of since.
Yeah.
So he's probably looking at it going, if I can't get a game for City, I'm not going to play for Brazil, which is, you know, he doesn't give a shit about City. He just wants to play for Brazil.
That's
you
fair.
know? So
That's fair. You reckon he's going to consider his options?
if Aguero stays for another season, I could see him go on.
I don't think so. City wouldn't let him go, because if Aguero stays for another season, they're going to be like, well, now we have this geriatric striker he's going to be washed up soon.
Yeah.
So we want to keep the best young striker we can get, because they're not going to get anyone else.
I could
That's good.
100% see them getting rid of Aguero and going, right, we need to buy someone now to fill that gap, and getting someone in.
Benteke.
Andy Carroll.
I mean, I was trying to rack my brain to think of who they would get in, but they could get in Timo Werner or something like
yeah,
that.
actually, that would
and
make
be
sense.
like,
He's had one
Jesus.
good season. And that was 2 years ago.
I think
I like Timo Werner. Yeah, he's scoring a lot this year.
Yeah.
Do you watch him a lot?
But they could
Yeah.
be like, Timo Werner, yeah, he's our new number one, and Jesus could still be there in two years' time going, I'm still not getting a fucking game, and I still score every time you play me.
Yeah, he scores every
does.
time he plays.
I think they said 5 starts and 5 goals in however many.
Sure,
games
when they
it was.
said he had 50 goals for City, you couldn't believe it.
50 goals for City.
Wow.
50, like.
Wow. All competitions, right? Obviously.
Yeah, I'd say it's all competitions. But I'd say he's probably in the top 5 City scorers of all time.
Probably.
That's not a stat. Don't
It definitely
quote me on
isn't.
that. But, like, he's definitely up there because
Yeah.
He has to
that's
be
a
really.
shit ton of goals.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. From the game itself, I mean, I wasn't very entertained. I mean, City played very good football, but Palace had a clear plan of just trying to nullify the play and just soak it up.
What did you think of City's jerseys?
I don't like it at all. I think
They look
the last
fucking
time I
ridiculous.
liked the fluorescent kits was that Barca kit the first year when like Henry was wearing it and Ibrahimovic had it,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think as well. They at that point I was like, yeah, that's cool. It's new, but since then, I think even Barca's kits have gone bad. Their away kits as well.
Oh, they have the Croatian home kit as well, which is queer.
Yeah.
But I said City looked like super splits at Adrian.
Yes.
And Adrian had no idea what I was talking about.
You don't know that ice cream, no? Or iced lolly, I should say, right?
I mean, I'd probably do if you show it to me, but
He probably only ate, what's that? Haagen-Dazs.
Oh,
That's all he
yeah.
ever had.
Yeah, that'd be Adrian, all right. Yeah.
I'm not posh.
Why did you assume that's what that meant?
Because
you're posh.
expensive.
Yeah, no.
Probably posher than us.
What would be your preference? What would be your ice cream preference?
Oh shit.
Not tubs, because that will just bring the whole Ben and Jerry's debate in and stuff. But
Brunch.
okay, fair, solid.
A little feminine, but I like it.
No,
Just on colour.
no, it's not.
You
on
wouldn't,
colour.
like, when I used to get those in school, people would be like, you're getting a brunch.
Yeah, but come on, like we clung to anything.
I mean, it's a pink ice cream.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't care.
You know how to read.
Yeah.
that was our
Good.
that was our school, really.
Fucking bop you.
I think ice burgers.
Me too.
Yeah, they're savage.
Yeah, I just think they're so easy. Like to,
Yeah,
to,
you
to
don't
eat,
get
to
fucking
enjoy.
mess.
No. You could
How
take-
are you eating ice creams if you're getting mess on yourself? Like, what are you 12 years old? Like?
We're thinking about the environment, right? We don't get the cup with like a sundae. We just get it in our hands, right?
Well, does anyone remember the Magnum half and half iceberg, half Magnum? So like you'd hold the iceberg half, and then you'd eat the Magnum. It's like a Magnum, but instead of a stick, it's an iceberg half.
No,
You've no idea what I'm talking about. Fine, let's move on.
I don't doubt its existence, but I think you're lying.
If
Terrible.
anyone knows what I'm talking about,
Yeah, email.
Email us, at PUPcast
I don't know what we do with it.
gmail.com.
they email in. What are we supposed to do? I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll throw up a poll on our Facebook page, the podcast. Give us a like too.
Fine.
What were we talking about?
Football, I think.
Oh yeah.
Any standout players or things you want to talk about before we wrap up the Man City Palace game?
Well, De Bruyne is class as usual.
Bruyne.
Oh, they're centre backs. They didn't play any centre backs.
Yeah,
they played 2 defensive midfielders.
Rodri and Fernandinho.
Fernandinho, yeah.
I mean, they're doing good considering how short they are at the back. They didn't have Walker today as well.
Well, how short they are at the back. Walker, Stones, and Otamendi cost like 100 million between them, and they choose not to play him.
Yeah.
So I don't feel much sympathy for him. Oh no, we have to play centre defensive midfielders
But it
at
worked.
the back.
You know,
It did.
At the end of the day.
And as soon as Benteke came on, John Stones came on too, because it was to counteract. There's no height at the back.
Yeah.
They knew we weren't gonna have much chance
Yeah.
in the box.
But will they win the league?
Do you know what? No, I think luck is against City this year.
I do too.
I think luck
And
is
I
on
fucking
Liverpool's side.
said Sané missing would be a big miss, and I still think that.
It's
and
true.
Company as well. I think 2 massive misses.
Well,
for
and
them this
Laporte.
And the port, yeah. Discuss.
Well, who wants to go first?
I think we all have a bit to say.
Just take the shit fucking piss out of Tottenham.
Yeah.
It's my favourite pastime.
We
Where do we start?
We had a little discussion about Pochettino before. Like, I think if it keeps going the way it's going, they either have to invest hugely next summer or something, or get rid of him, because it's not working. I mean, they've scraped a draw today, and their goal came from like a big fuck up at the back. Basically, like it wasn't silky football or something. It wasn't silky football or something that got them the goal. It was a fuck up at the back, and Dele Alli tapped into an open goal.
Very lucky, yeah.
So, like, can they just keep going?
I mean, they did invest hugely this summer. They did spend a shitload of money on Ndombele, Lo Celso, Sessegnon. They spent, how much is that? That's like 150 million.
I think to argue that they spent nothing the year before is 70 million, 75 million, a lot for 2 years.
Well, they're about to lose Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and Eriksson on freeze.
Yeah.
So that's about 100 million there walking out the door. So not only do they have to spend money to improve the team right now that they're in, but once they're gone, they have to spend money to replace them and improve the team.
And I think that's what ties back into Adrian's point initially, is I think it's far cheaper to get rid of Pochettino than to fix the issues that are currently going on with the squad.
I think Pochettino was in the situation that Arsene Wenger was in, however many years ago, 10 years ago, something like
without
that.
the success to fall back on.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's not Arsene Wenger.
No.
And that's the problem. And they're thinking he is, and he's gotten to the Champions League final by, frankly, a fluke, and lost it easily.
Yeah, although that might be, in a weird way, a positive that he has no Wenger success to fall back on, because the reason Wenger was allowed to keep going for so long, and the reason I backed him to the last day, but
did,
you know,
to be fair.
the reason we did that is because of what he had done for the club, and it was like, you can't let him go because he's done so much, and he went on for like 10 years, you know, whereas Pochettino's this is really only his maybe second year of real decline, and you're like, will he stay or will he go?
But can you call it decline if they haven't really achieved anything? They've only just got Champions League football.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's good for like the likes of Leicester.
That's what I'm saying. It might be easier for them to let him go. It's like there's no hang up about saying, oh well, you know, he didn't really do much, so let's get him out the door. Let's bring in Mourinho.
It's true, and I mean, we seem to have short memories as football fans, and even though Spurs are a big team and they will always be a big team, that cannot be argued. Flynn might try.
That big, really though.
I think yes. All right, I think that's perhaps something we can get back to on it. But there's many a season that you can only look back in the last 10 years when they were 8th, kind of top half.
Yeah.
This decade they've been a top 4 team, pretty much. Well, top 6, top 4, top 6, pretty much. Since Harry Redknapp, when did he take over?
I think it was like 2004, maybe. No,
Redknapp.
Harry Redknapp.
No, it was later than that.
No. 2004 was that when Pompey won the FA Cup? Because that was when he was in charge and he went off to Spurs from there. No?
Maybe. We're all older than we think, you see. That's the problem. Like,
I'm still 18.
15 years ago isn't actually that long ago in our heads.
Okay.
Well, I think of Redknapp era as being like Van der Vaart and Berbatov, those kind of guys.
But even then, what did they qualify for Europe, right?
I know, but that was a step up from they were where Everton or West Ham are now.
They probably weren't a consistent Champions League team until 4 seasons ago, maybe 3.
So
4 seasons ago.
Pochettino made them consistent European football.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. This is the thing. We make the comparison to Wenger. Even in Wenger's worst years, he was still just chalking up an FA Cup here and there.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. At their lowest point, they still won like FA Cups.
Yeah. And if that fiasco didn't happen in the League Cup against Birmingham, he would have had that.
Me.
I know, but that was probably like a kind of turning point, I suppose, really, where it kind of really went down.
I go off on a tangent for a second.
Go ahead.
Koscielny fucked that up, right? He fucked that in that final, made a big mistake. Koscielny regularly made huge mistakes. Listen, Koscielny probably the best player Arsenal had this decade, I think.
Ooh.
If you were to really say who was Arsenal's best player for the decade,
Says Fabregas.
you couldn't say he wasn't there that decade.
Well, for a full decade.
Yeah,
right,
the decade.
Well,
Who's
has
the
it been
best
any player that's
of
been
the
there for 10
decade?
years?
2010.
You'd say like Van Persie had 2 seasons and he fucked off to United.
Okay.
Like Cazorla, great for like a season and a half, 2 seasons. Aubameyang, great 2 seasons-ish. Koscielny was there for the full length of time and he was probably the best player overall.
Okay.
Then he fucked off, but he regularly made a lot of mistakes and, he cost us a lot of games. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I never really had like much faith, or I didn't give him much merit either. I thought he was alright.
It's kind of a grim assessment that he was our player of the decade and he was just alright.
Yeah.
Is Aubameyang a better player?
He is a better player, but not like Koscielny had the longevity. Like,
Right.
Sure.
I don't think a lot of people will agree with you on that.
I mean, who else?
Well, yeah, I guess
couldn't say
Peter
you couldn't
Cech.
say Aubameyang.
How long was Peter Cech at
Even
Arsenal?
Cech wasn't that great.
But it depends if you're talking about the best player or the longevity. Yeah, he was there a long time. Was he the best player that's played for Arsenal in the last 10 years?
No.
I don't think. Well, that's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying he's player of the decade. Like, who was
Okay.
of the decade? He
It's
was,
really hard when there's like not many players that have been at Arsenal more than 5 years, though.
Yeah.
And
No, I understand.
Walcott.
Well, speaking of Walcott, West Ham are the only team that can make him look like Messi. To be fair, that was pretty poor from them today. But anyway,
Well, they have a shocking defense right now.
West Ham.
West Ham, yeah.
West Ham are a team that if they stopped existing tomorrow, I wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
Sorry to all the Hammers fans who wanna.
So you wouldn't think of them as like one of the top of one of the Premier League
They
teams?
used to be.
One of my pet peeves is people considering West Ham as a top team.
Yeah.
Due to location, history, and their fans.
Their
only
fans is
reason.
the thing. Like
It's just
loads
their
of
fans,
celebrities follow him. So
Yeah.
they're like Russell Brand follows West Ham. They must be big team.
Fucking EastEnders done
Yeah.
nothing but
Yeah.
create a myth
Mhm.
about West Ham,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Actually, a bit of a question is, do you think West Brom as a core Premier League team?
No.
You don't?
No.
I saw someone arguing that the other day. They were like, "Oh, it just feels wrong seeing West Brom in the Championship. They always seem like a Premier League team to me."
Ooh.
And I'm like,
I had a
No.
I thought about this before.
they're like the smallest team I
In
could have
Midlands.
imagined. When they came up
Yeah.
like 10 years in 2008, was it? They were like the smallest team. They were like the Huddersfield of today or whoever,
Yeah.
Cardiff or whatever. They were like the tiny, teeny bopper team. And now people think of them. Now people have grown up with them in the Premier
That's
League.
the difference.
thinking,
That's the argument I had before with someone, is that it depends when you started watching football or who you grew up with.
I still think of Coventry and like Middlesbrough,
Birmingham City. If of the Midlands team, for me, the bigger teams would be Birmingham and Villa. Wolves and West Brom, no. But that's due to the 2000s. And watching football then.
And Sunderland, I still think of Sunderland.
I think of Sunderland. I still think of Fulham.
Yeah, well, like, that's the thing too, is that if you look at their past few years, you think they're a dire team. But no, they were. Like, in that 2010 period, Europa League finalists.
I know.
Juve.
But like, people 10 years older than us would hear us saying, oh, we think of Fulham as a Premier League team. And they're thinking, Fulham are fucking nothing. Like, they were never in the top team.
The other club that they'd probably think is Man City. Man City were a Division 1 team for a long time. For a long time.
And even like Burnley, if you fast-track someone from 30 years ago and got them to name who they think is in the Premier League, like Burnley are...
Bournemouth.
Fucking hell, like, there's tons of them.
There is
not room for them all. You know, that's the thing.
Teams like Charlton as well. Charlton,
I was just going to say
I think of them as a team,
Yeah. So, I think just to answer that, I think it's down to when you started watching football.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's funny.
So people are going to grow up now thinking fucking Huddersfield as a core Premier League team. Like.
Huddersfield and Stoke are in the relegation zone of the Championship. How the mighty, and I say mighty in like inverted, quotation marks.
Stoke are in huge trouble. I don't really know much about Huddersfield, but Stoke are fucked. Like,
well, no loss.
Yeah, really couldn't care less.
No.
They booed Aaron Ramsey, Aaron Ramsey's a good shout for player decade for Arsenal, but anyway, Stoke used to boo Ramsey for getting his leg broken.
Yeah. It was...
It's
difficult football fans, isn't it? You know...
Look at hell.
As if he faked the injury,
Scant, like, I mean, that's the worst thing you could do.
Can you think of a worse reason to boo someone? Like, we broke your leg. Boom.
Speaking of cunts, right? I think Declan Rice is the most overrated player
I was just
I've
saying
ever
that.
seen.
I was saying that before we started recording.
Yeah,
like,
you were.
Fucking Declan Rice.
Yeah.
These English players, every few seasons there comes along someone and they're like, oh, this is the next Bobby Moore or whoever. You had Dele Alli gone to shit.
Yep.
You have fucking Declan Rice is another one. There's like every so often you get these English players that are overhyped to the moon.
Yeah.
That's why I think Sterling has done so well to come back from that.
Yeah.
Because that happened to him. He was like, oh, Sterling's the next big hope. Then they shat all over him. And now he's actually better than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, fair play.
It's true, and it ties back into the whole thing of like people having this misconception that West Ham are more than what they are. Just because he plays for Declan Rice plays for West Ham, and because he's English and he plays in a...
They think of Bobby Moore. They still think of like Bobby Moore is the key West Ham England player. Like.
That's it. If England or England fans or English people can't claim the 1966 World Cup as still being a success, then neither can West Ham being a big team.
Mm.
Sorry. I know there was a lot of West Ham players in that England 1966 team, but like...
Yeah. Jeff Hurst, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decades and decades ago. So yeah, fuck West Ham.
Yeah.
In conclusion.
And fuck Declan Rice.
Turtle.
Yeah.
Even though born in England, raised in England.
Yeah, why can't you be Irish like Clinton Morrison?
I know. You know, it's so sad now. Anytime an Irish player breaks through, like Aaron Connolly, I go straight into Wikipedia and see where they were born.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh
safe.
yes,
Go away.
Okay, he can't switch.
And
Thank God.
Did you not see as well, as soon as he scored the goals against Spurs, it was like instantly called up to replace an injured player.
I know.
Get him over the line. Just give him a full professional cap.
Yeah.
No one can see that.
To be fair, it should have happened with Royce. Like they should have done it with Royce,
especially with how good he was underage. But look, I think even though we won't discuss how poor Ireland are, I don't know if he would have made much of a difference to what the setup there is now. I can't wait for Stephen Kenny either.
Glenn Whelan's in the squad.
I don't want to get into Ireland. I can't.
I mean, I can't accept that Royce wouldn't make a difference when Glenn Whelan is still.
No, but he wouldn't have changed any of the results though.
He's not a game changer. Yeah, that's it. There's no one like you can say, I don't know, like a Firmino or like Gabriel Jesus, where they're like, well, they're kind of sitting in waiting, and you bring him in, it changes the team.
But can a striker only be a game changer?
Robbie fucking Keane. Yes, I think so. For Ireland, that's
But you're
all he
talking
did.
about. Hang on.
But like,
Still-
you think it's defensive midfielder can't be a game changer.
No, of course he can.
Well,
No,
Declan Rice
I
can't.
accept that.
Yeah.
But when the whole team is so poor, I mean, James McLean, we're still looking at James McLean as a guaranteed starter, and that guy is dog shit now. He is dog shit, and he never played for any good club. He played for Wigan and Stoke and West Brom, and we're looking at him. We're looking at him like as a guaranteed starter.
As our best
I
player,
mean,
yeah.
if you throw 10 James McLeans on the pitch and 1 Declan Rice, it's gonna be shit.
I mean, actually,
Okay.
yeah, sure. Talking about who's Ireland's player of the decade. It's fucking James McLean.
Fuck off.
Nah,
I mean, who else is it? Seamus Coleman?
maybe.
What about Darren Randolph being one of the top 20
Oh, yeah.
Irish players of all time?
Anyone want to give a bit of a backstory into that
Okay,
claim?
sorry, yeah. Our friend Dave, hey Dave,
Story Dave. Cracking
said
Canada.
that Darren Randolph has to be one of the top 20. Well, I think he gave himself some leeway.
Well, the leeway he gave him was way more extreme than he was like. Oh, he said first of all he's one of the top 20 Irish players ever. I was like,
Ever.
I don't know. He said, well, definitely top 20 goalkeepers. I'm like,
We've had 4 since the 1990 World Cup.
Packy Bonner, Shea Given, and the rest.
Yeah. And I know what he's saying, that he's been consistent.
Top
Jesus.
20. Who's number 18?
But Jesus Christ. Anyway, what were we saying?
Well,
Crack
I
Dave.
think we just move away from the Ireland squad because
Yeah,
it's real depressing.
Well, let me just say one thing, because this fucks me off about Ireland all the time.
Right.
Small country, small population, have 2 other national sports that people play over football. We should not expect to get into these major competitions. And we should not expect to beat Denmark. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the Nordic countries should be way better than they are. Like,
Yeah.
fucking Switzerland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland. They're supposed to be like the richest, most developed countries in the world, with bigger populations than us, and it's the only sport they play other than like fucking whatever in a snowman building or whatever the fuck they do.
Ice hockey?
They're not even that good, really.
Well, I think Sweden are the only one that can argue that. But yeah, you're right. Teams like Norway, Finland, and things like that, they've got big populations. But
Well, it's
they
not
don't-
even the population; it's more the development. They're
Yeah.
like top of the tree as far as like they're the wealthiest, most developed countries in the world, and they have fuck all really going for 'em in sport.
Their leagues are quite enjoyable. I've played fantasy football this year from Norway and Sweden.
What's that about? What the fuck are you doing playing
What?
Norwegian
Yeah.
football?
You have a kid, man.
Well, the kids are being neglected because I play fantasy football.
Where do you find this time?
You know, fantasy
The
football
baby
scout.
crying in the next room, and he's like, "I gotta get my fantasy football for the Norwegian league set up."
Believe it or not, there's 24 hours of the day. But you know, fantasy football scout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that page is probably the biggest
don't.
fantasy football website. Well, now you should.
Well, that's why I suck at fantasy football, but anyway.
It makes sense. It all makes sense. They basically they play a
That's
summer
why.
league. They play a summer league in Sweden
Yeah.
and Norway. So if anyone wants
right.
to find their fix, they have a good like kind of website and page for fantasy. Plus, it's something crazy. Like if you look at the top 100 players in fantasy football over the last 10 years, a good portion of those are Norwegian people. They're pretty mad for it.
Magnus Carlsen, the chess player, he's like top like 100 in fantasy football
Yep.
right
They
now.
love it. It's because I think they're big into kind of stats and analytics and
Yeah.
things like that. So like that's why I kind of stuck at it. I kind of despise the Norwegian one right now because it's not like you think Guardiola's rotation is frustrating. There's teams in Norway where they've never had the same 11 and they're 30 games into the season.
Jesus
So yeah,
Christ, yeah.
try work that one out.
Jesus Christ. Before we move on, can I just ask, so what's your Irish player of the decade? Because, I mean, if it's not McLean or Coleman, who the fuck is it?
But is it
Well, I never
players?
said it wasn't Coleman.
Alright, so it's Coleman.
But like I don't understand the rules anymore. Is it players that have played consistently for 10 years or is it the best player in 10 years?
It's kind of a mix, I think is what you're
I'd
looking
say,
for.
yeah, it's like
Like someone... Yeah, you go.
consistently over the 10 years, who has stood out, who's been Ireland's, like, over the 10 years has been, like, there when you need them.
So, we're saying since 2009.
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, sure.
Years.
So I was going to say, like, well, Richard Dunn, but he's probably not played in the last 10 years.
Well, really, 2010, because, I mean, we're in the 10th year of the decade.
When were we in the Euros?
2012, yeah, in Poland, Ukraine.
Yeah, like
we got hammered.
Keane was
And 2016.
probably
St. Ledger.
John O'Shea.
Really? I thought he was more on the downswing, really.
Well,
He stayed on for a good bit. Like, he kept going till probably 2016, I'm going to say.
I'm going to say Johnny Waters. Johnny Waters, Mr. Consistent. Didn't have to score, didn't have to
goals
assist.
in 10 years.
I didn't judge him on scoring.
But
I judged him
for
on...
a striker.
He was an option.
I think John O'Shea trumps him because John O'Shea... See, Johnny Walters was there through the hard times, right? John O'Shea stayed from the good times when we were in the Euros, and he stayed on...
There's no
he
good
had no
times.
choice. He couldn't go somewhere else. He stayed on.
Retire.
Trade to Scotland.
Yeah.
Like Duff and Keane and Given retired, and then was like, oh shit, I'll actually go back because I'm not getting a game anywhere. So I think O'Shea. Johnny Walters. Look, Johnny Walters, dog shit. Like.
Yeah, but if you don't judge him on football and just on critiquing Roy Keane, then he's a star.
Oh yeah.
Did you see? It was during the after the England game where I think it was Lee Dixon said, you know, Ross Barkley's got so much potential, but we just don't know where his best position is. Where do you think his best position is, Roy? And Roy goes, well, on the bench.
Yeah.
Lovely.
He's such a miserable cunt.
He is.
I know. You know, it's pretty bad now for Ireland, but I just remember someone asked in a thread on Reddit, they were like, what's the most embarrassing result of your national team ever that you can remember? And I just think Steve Staunton every game, like losing to Cyprus, like by 5-2 to fucking Cyprus.
Yeah.
And you could tell the players just didn't want to play for him.
That's the worst result any team's ever had.
Yeah.
Well, I also thought that the 1-0 against Gibraltar was pretty.
That was pretty bad as well.
You like, I'm sorry, you have to put 3-4 goals past them.
I heard, because it was after the World Cup rugby game against Japan, and I heard on the radio someone say, is this the worst ever loss for an Irish team? And someone was like, no, 5-2 Cyprus was worse.
Yeah.
And it was like,
I remember that game, and I remember that night like vividly.
Yeah.
So appalling.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I remember this is back before Facebook, when the internet, you know, I wasn't even old enough to have access to the internet properly, but I remember I couldn't watch the game, so I got the newspaper the next day. Like, I think I was reading the back of like the Sun or something, and just seeing the scoreline, and I could not believe what I was reading. Like, I was like, this has to be a misprint, but they have the names of 5 Cyprus players.
With about 20 characters.
I couldn't, like, I was in shock. Like, I couldn't believe that we'd lost by 5 goals to fucking Cyprus.
Yeah. Right, well, we'll make a turn from, I guess, real football to fantasy football. Many of you might not know, but we do have a fantasy football league going at the moment. But also...
You can't join, by the way.
Yeah, we wouldn't want you. But for the past couple of seasons, we've run, on the official FPL website, we've run a draft between a few of us. Now, for those of you that don't know, the draft differs from the standard fantasy football layout, where there's not as a league as such, where you can have the same players. In the draft, if, for example, Connor picks Sterling, no one else in the league can have Sterling, etc. You all get a pick, and you kind of, I guess, pick off one by one who you want, and then there's a pool of players left.
Yeah, there's a bit more variety compared to regular fantasy football. Like,
it's far harder, I will say that, because if you get a good original draft, or if you get a good pick every week, you can kind of get the good players or the informed players.
Yeah. But if you have bad players, you're stuck with them, and like you can't get the good players.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that is correct.
Do you know
Connor.
anything about that, Kieran?
Oh, I kind of would. I'm actually well versed in a fucking dire midfield this year, anyway. But yeah, I thought we could maybe turn our attention to fantasy football in general this year. So, how are you guys doing? Any standout players? Any themes or funny things you're seeing?
I mean, we're just talking the draft, I guess, just so people don't say, just get Kane and Salah. It doesn't work like that. There's no prices, and we can't all do it. Yeah. I'm second bottom in our league. Now we've actually only got 5 in our league. I thought we had more.
Second bottom's pretty good though.
Second bottom is not bad. I'm
second bottom in a 5-person league, so you're fourth.
Okay, like I'm having a bad week, but I've some big players to play. Mane is my number 1 pick.
Cool.
He's the one who's really getting me through. I think everyone has found a system where you need at least one player from probably the top 4 teams. So you need a Liverpool player, you need a City player, you need a Leicester player, and you need
Chelsea, Arsenal, someone like that.
Yeah.
Just say Arsenal.
And if you can blag that, you're probably guaranteed X amount of points every week. Now, the hassle is, and we're all finding this, I think, the likes of City rotate a lot. So we all had City players today who might not have played. I have Mahrez, I have Walker. The 2 of them didn't play. They give me a fucking dime. So then maybe there's a bit of, maybe you're best banking on Liverpool players. Some people think that, some people don't, and you can obviously trade players and things like that.
Yeah.
So, like, for me right now, Mahrez is doing dick all. David Silva did good. Mane, I'm banking on. I've got Abraham. I've got Lacazette.
You have a nice team. I don't think your team reflects where you are.
But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of my starters are injured.
Oh.
Now I have Richarlison. Come on, Richarlison, handy little one. He's a striker, but he's down as midfielder.
It's a good pick. Last year, he racked up 180 points, something like that. That's not bad.
But always, if someone offers you a trade, right? Say if Flynn offered me 2 players for 2 of my players, add up their total points so far. That'll give you a good idea.
Well,
yeah,
it will give you a fair idea, but like someone like Harry Kane, for example, who I have, hasn't lived up to his probably like points per average just yet.
Got you 2 points today.
Fuck yeah. And so just I guess I'll give a recap of like my team or my season so far. Adrian's in second bottom. I am as hard bottom as you can get. It's dire straits, but I've recovered this week. I've got like nearly double the next highest person's points.
You're doing great this week.
Good week.
But how long will it last?
Again, like you've got Jorginho. Now I know why you got Jorginho.
Yes.
Penalties and things, and he's guaranteed to play.
Correct. And he's just a middleman for now.
Okay.
Like he'll be bench fodder. That will be first sub for a while until someone good comes up. And there's a few in the pool right now.
Can I address your back line?
You can.
Because you got serious points in the back line.
Yes, I did.
Today. You got 20 points.
Yes.
You've got Ake, Azpilicueta, Bowley, and Digne. Can I say it that way?
Digne? Say Dean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
useless prick until this week.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. People swear on that guy. He just so happened to get a clean sheet, but Everton are a shit team this season.
I know, but this was my problem this season. Is I didn't bank on because it wasn't intentional. But my original picks, my number 1 draft pick was Kane, which any other season you'd be like solid.
I would have done the same.
But I kind of had a mix of.
That's why you're.
I had a mix of Spurs, United, and Everton players, right? Who happen to be the 3rd most underperforming teams in the league.
Yeah,
it won't be like that all season. You know it won't.
But I kind of understand because I got in Maguire just before he moved to United because I was going, he'll be,
that would change the defense. Yeah, for sure. And this is it.
And he's dog shit.
And in theory, having right, Kane, Eriksen, Luka Digne, Pickford, Rashford. I think that was kind of my initial 5 big names.
Yeah, if only you got points for theory.
It's true. This is the fun of fantasy, right? This is why we play it, right? Yeah, I'm sick of it.
I mean, you're probably your best 2 players because you had a shit hot. Yeah, your strike up front. Did you have Rashford?
I had
Rashford, Kane, and Vardy, and we were going. Well, Kieran's fucking running away with it. Well, I was anyway.
And again, in theory, that should have been pretty good. I got Jimenez. I finally gave in on Rashford, and you're free to him. I don't care if he scores a hat trick every game for the remainder of the season.
Good to know.
Have him.
Flynn, how's your?
Well,
where are you from bottom?
I'm currently 5th from bottom in a 5-person league. So right now I'm ahead of everyone.
Good for you.
By a few points, but these things can change.
They can.
Very quickly, and I'm happy if I get my money back.
Yeah, well, this is a point I guess we haven't confirmed, is that we, after years of playing it together, we finally, of course, typically with the year I do terrible, we've committed money to it this year. Where we kind of broken it down so that there's a big overall prize, but you also get a payout per quarter as well. Flynn is very much on course to get his money back by winning the first quarter.
Yeah, well, the trouble is, which I don't think we thought through, is that we gave all the money to Dave. So, like, Dave over in Toronto right now, I mean, he's probably like, I don't know what to do in Toronto, buying snow globes.
That's it.
Skiing,
Maple syrup.
Eating loads of pancakes, yeah.
Seeing Drake.
All with our fantasy football money. We're not going to see a penny of that.
Well, I think, we talk about, like, in theory, giving your money to someone who's going to a different continent was perhaps not the smartest
it's like,
thing.
lads, I'm leaving the country.
Now,
okay, here's a load of money.
what I would say is you did get first pick.
Yeah, okay, I got first pick in the draft, which means I had first choice.
Actually, and just sorry to interrupt you, myself and Adrian had the last 2 picks. We did.
We did.
I could nearly, I'm not sure of it, but I could nearly guarantee that the rank that the league is in now is the order of the picks.
Probably.
Okay,
yeah.
well,
Close
last
to it.
season we did a draft and I had last pick and I won. So
Yeah, I threw last year's away.
So
I will say that I traded
Fine.
Mane for Richarlison. That
Well,
was
like,
bad.
you
bad craftsman blames his tools.
I think the main thing, because I'm just looking at your team, like, if you were to pick the top players, right? Like, if you look at mine, like, I've got Mane. Mane is probably my standout player. So you have a few standouts. Alexander-Arnold, good defense, yeah? That's a good defender to have. Sterling is your main man in midfield. And Aubameyang, right? Those 3. The other ones, you've been clever because you've, like, Callum Wilson. Now, more often than not, he'll pick you up more points than just 2 points.
Yeah.
You've got Mount, Hudson-Odoi. You
gotta stay on top of it because in fantasy football, the way you win, it's not just picking like the best players. It's like who's in form and sort of
fixtures and things like
like
that.
someone who stays on top of it is going to win, even if you're like 100 points behind. If someone in the lead is like not paying attention, if you're on it every week, like, oh, I gotta get this player, I gotta switch out that player, you're going to win eventually.
And I think that's what
it's a long season.
It is.
It's 38 weeks.
That's it. I know I'm giving out about being last, but like that can change. Like this game week, 45 points compared to I think yourself on like 19 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's interesting about the draft compared to the actual normal fantasy, is that it's way easier to catch up.
Yeah.
Because in the regular fantasy, if we all look at our teams, we all have like Sterling and Salah, and players like that. If they score a hat trick, we've all got them. So in this one, it's true, and because you have that huge pool of players.
Yeah, there are bigger swings in points because like no one can get the same amount of points as you. So like you have, like if your player does well, no one else can make that points up unless their players do well, and
that's it, and that's why if you have a big week where all your players return, that's better than having someone who's consistent over 38 weeks. I feel. Yeah. I like this year, even though I'm not doing too great. I like it.
I think we're all just worried that Dave will win.
Well, this is the this is the bottom line, right? Is that we can't let snakes win.
All right, let me just address this. Let me just explain myself.
Yeah, go for it.
I call Dave a snake because we have a group chat on the Fantasy Football, and if Kieran and Connor say, "Look, I've offered you this for this," and you might explain why you did or didn't take it, Dave will pitch in what he thinks of that trade and maybe make a suggestion.
And what's his suggestion
to his
like?
benefit.
But I just think because he did it with was it you and me?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he did it with one, and we got into a debate about it, about was it right or wrong, and I said, well, Dave, would you do this? And he was like, well, absolutely, I wouldn't trade what I thought was an equivalent trade. He was like, no, that's not fair. So I called him a snake.
I mean,
but look, he's. I think I've retracted it and said it's savvy because he's trying to influence and manipulate and things like that. But
savvy's not an animal though, so snake it is.
Yeah.
Dave, you know we love you. Like you're
we do.
You're going on the fantasy football.
And for those outside of our circle, Dave is like our number one subscriber and former member of the podcast. So we have a free card to call him whatever we want. Actually,
look, maybe he'll win it outright, and it'll all be worth it.
All be.
Maybe that's why I'm second from bottom.
Well, for now,
because I'm not.
For now,
snake.
as we. Well, you're definitely top of the league in non-snakiness.
In morale, you and me, Kieran. We're
top.
We're top, baby.
We're fan favourites. Yeah.
Connor,
do you get any money for being top of the non-snake league?
Well, I don't get called a snake, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll take my €40.
Yeah.
Call me whatever you want.
Are you guaranteed that now? Well, I guess no one's guaranteed.
Not quite.
How far are you ahead?
I'm like 30 points ahead of Dave. That could change this weekend.
It could.
I gotta just win the next 2 weeks, and I'll get my money back.
Very good. I mean, looking ahead too, just in terms of football in general, we've a Friday night game this week coming.
I hate the way Arsenal, because they're in the Europa League. Well, I hate they're in the Europa League, but I hate the way they have to play every game in the league last, like late Sunday or on Monday night, because they play Thursdays. Drives me up the fucking walls.
I don't know if there's a difference between playing a game on Saturday at 5:30 and Sunday at 2:00.
I can't enjoy the rest of the games because even if like Spurs lost by 5 goals and like Liverpool capitulated or whatever, I couldn't enjoy it just because I know Arsenal still have to play and they could still get embarrassed or lose or whatever.
Yeah,
they still have to still have to fulfill their part of it. I much prefer, my favourite time for my team to play is at 12:30 on a Saturday.
Oh, that's the worst time.
But I don't think teams like to play.
No, it's like a cursed time as well. There's usually the upsets will happen on Saturday at 12:30.
Yeah, well, see, also if you lose, people forget about it because the rest of the games come straight after.
I suppose with Arsenal though, winning is probably causing an upset, so there's that.
Oh,
weak. Without, I guess, contradicting what will probably happen in the short term, we have the big derby tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Without kind of committing to a result which will instantly be wrong.
Yeah, you listeners, we're recording this on Saturday night, so we haven't watched the game. By the time you hear this, the game will have happened, and you will have seen United get crushed by Liverpool.
Well, there is one thing we can guarantee, right? United will lose.
No. Like this
we're
is
jinxing it now.
This is
Okay, imagine they don't lose. Imagine they draw or they win. Imagine.
But remember last season?
Yes.
Last season
and every other season.
Liverpool were flying high, and everyone said they're going to go and they're going to spank United, and it was a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I can see it again.
It's just one of those games, and it's the one. Okay, this can go one of two ways, right?
Or 3 ways, really.
Well, one is that
weak.
Shut the fuck up. One is that. One is that players down tools because they think Solskjaer is a shit manager, and they go, let's lose this game and he's going to be gone. Right?
Right,
yeah.
right.
The other way is they go, fucking hell, this is the game the whole world is watching. Let's put on a performance and someone will buy me and get the fuck out again.
Someone will get me out.
No one wants to be playing.
I thought you were going to say we have to do this for the shirt.
Nope.
For United.
None of those players want to be at United anymore, or they don't want to be playing for Solskjaer
Imagine
anymore.
if Fred puts on a performance of a lifetime
But
tomorrow.
they could. Your man fucking Pereira, I guarantee, is going to be an absolute stormer tomorrow.
Yeah, you can see Jesse Lingard getting the winner or something.
At the end of the day, I still think Liverpool will win. I just
That's
think
fair.
they're too
if
good.
United can do anything this season, it's defend. Not even that well, but they can. I mean, they limit teams. They limit themselves. They don't create that many chances, but they limit other teams. Their games are just boring, shitty football fest. But so if they just stifle Liverpool, it could end 0-0. So that Arsenal game was the most boring game of football I ever saw in my life.
And this is it. That
was 1-1.
And they haven't got a lot to kind of cheer for at the minute. So, in a kind of sad little way, potentially making Liverpool drop points, which would ultimately perhaps lead them to not winning the title, would perhaps be better than winning the league or Champions League as well.
They'll be gunning for this game.
I honestly think it will be similar to the City Palace game today, where it's like 80% possession for Liverpool, United backed up, and they get away with something.
What do you think's more likely this season? That United win the league or United get relegated?
Relegated.
I'm relegated.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
There's no way they're catching City.
When was the last time we said this about United?
It was
1972 or something.
United are in a bad way.
Big trouble.
And I know this kind of talk about the game that's going to be tomorrow can become outdated quite quickly, but I think this is applicable regardless of whether United will win tomorrow. They can win 5-0.
Even if they beat Liverpool, they're still...
It doesn't really change things.
It doesn't change anything. Liverpool are going to be top of the league end of tomorrow, no matter what.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, it doesn't fucking matter.
That's a nice feeling as a Liverpool fan, right?
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, it happened a few times last season too, right?
Yeah, I know. Right?
I was saying it to Adrian, like, Man United, their best feature is their defence, which they've spent £250 million on. And who do they have? They have Shaw, who's okay but fat and injured most of the time. They have Maguire, who cost £90 million and was probably the worst Leicester centre back they could have bought.
Massive forehead too.
Yeah, Lindelof, who costs £35 million, is just okay at best. And Wan-Bissaka, who's fine. I mean, we don't really know. He's alright. But he costs £50 million. And De Gea, who is washed, I think. I think he's completely fucking past it. And he's only like 29 or something. He costs 25 million or 20 million.
And perhaps he's injured now too.
And they spent like $250 million. And their best feature is their defence, which is just okay.
Yeah.
I've said a lot of possible outcomes. And I know... people are saying that it could be like a tight game and everything, and I honestly think it will. But I also wouldn't be totally surprised if they got absolutely rinsed tomorrow. And I think
playing yourself down for fuck's sake.
But I was saying to you, I think it's about time Liverpool went to Old Trafford and went, "This is how fucking good we are."
And we think back as well to a few years ago as well. It was a similar thing when City were on the rise too, and they went and they made a statement. And what was it? 5-1, 6-1,
6-1,
6-1 in Old Trafford.
Yeah.
That's when. I mean, if you want to look back in terms of timelines, that was probably like the catalyst for City being like, we are far superior than United. I know probably United won a Premier League.
They won the league that season.
They won the league that season. All right, fair enough. We don't research shit here.
No, but that was a big deal because I mean, they fucking hammered them. Like, and Balotelli, why always me? That's probably my favourite moment in Premier League this decade.
I loved that game because it was 4-1 and the stadium was like emptying out and they still just fucking dug that knife in.
That was only like a fortnight after United beat Arsenal 8-2.
Oh,
that was a great season.
What a season!
I
hated that season.
If there's an international break, I think we need to review that season because I loved it. I really loved that season. Plenty happened.
What was that? 2012?
2012? Yeah, 2012.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
No, maybe
2012, 2013 season.
It wasn't.
When did Ferguson retire?
Yes.
Was it that one? When did Ferguson retire? Yes.
I just said we don't research shit here.
No, it wasn't 13-14 because that was when Liverpool nearly won the league. So it might have been 11-12.
I'm pretty sure. I think that's too early. Anyway,
we haven't a clue.
Cut all this.
Yeah, Flynn's gonna edit in like the correct answers, right?
No, I'm leaving all this in.
But yeah, that was a great season.
Yeah,
I do wonder about the result tomorrow, and I think everything points to, like 99% points to Liverpool walking it comfortably, which is only when I just start to think, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to be like, yeah, they'll fucking smash them, but then it's also, really easy to go, well, they never do smash them at Old Trafford. And Liverpool, a lot of players have travelled a lot in the international break, and United will be fresher, they'll be up for it, the crowd and all that kind of stuff. It's impossible to know. We can't tell you right now. If I had to give a prediction, I'd say 2-0 Liverpool.
Okay. The other thing is as well, and I know they're getting the job done, you can't take it away from them, but Liverpool haven't been great either recently.
Yeah.
Leicester, extremely lucky. Forget about the penalty. We've talked enough about VAR and penalties and things like that, right?
Yeah.
I know they were on top, but that wasn't a convincing win. Even looking back to, was it the Southampton game? Am I right in saying that? I think from then on, was it Southampton? Where it was just 2-1, something like that? 3-1 maybe?
Yeah.
Liverpool haven't performed well. Again, we don't research, right? It could have been fucking 4-0 for all I know.
But Leicester are a lot better than United.
Correct.
That's
Yeah. Not to take that away. I don't know. It's just not clicking.
Not even at the moment. Man for man, I think Leicester have a better team than United.
I think Brendan Rodgers is one of the best managers in the league right now. Yeah.
We discussed this
in our hidden podcast.
Yeah.
Hidden because
only
it was deleted.
For paying subscribers. That.
Subscribe to us on Patreon to get
Patreon subscribers get that.
Yeah. Well,
the Brentcast.
I'll fucking say it again. Good manager, absolutely, but is sometimes given too much credit for his time at Liverpool. Because,
by me. I'm always talking up Rodgers.
Well, yeah, because he is, and he's obviously gotten better as a manager, I think, and the Celtic thing worked. But I heard someone say he was a great judge of player. A great judge of player.
Well, we can prove that wrong.
Well, yeah, look at the players he brought in, and I think Coutinho, and I have to think for a second. Sturridge. Coutinho and Sturridge were probably the only two he brought in that were you could consider a success. Brought in a lot of bullshit, a lot of deadwood that was basically shipped out straight away. He called Joe Allen the Welsh Xavi.
Yeah.
Thiago Ilori was going to be your centre back for the next 10 years.
Ilori and Coates, I think, came in under him. Sacco. I mean, look, he brought in probably about 30 players. I could name them all off.
But does it just take that he just needs the one or two that are brilliant players?
That's it. Like
that gets
Suarez
rid of the rest,
nearly
right?
won the league.
Because you could
Not
say
Rodgers.
But yeah, exactly. But you could say the same about Ferguson, right? There's a big list of players that failed under Ferguson. Jemba, players like that.
Varane.
Yeah, exactly. A list of players that were very, very good or were supposed to be great, but then if you pick 1 out of 10 and then one of them is a world-class player, that's success, right?
He still brought in mostly good players, and when he got rid of the really good players, he kept the ship going. But, I mean, when he got rid of Beckham, when he got rid of Keane, he was still able to win titles.
But he really leaned on an academy that maybe he was a part of. But the team he inherited had, do you know that class of, what do they call it, class of
92?
92, yeah, one of those years, right?
89.
89.
I don't know why I said 89.
They're like Cowboys.
But that's, he couldn't have had much influence on that, if any.
But he still, like, he I know he inherited a lot from the academy. Not inherited, but you know what I mean. But he still bought Ferdinand, Vidic, Rooney.
Arguably, he was a few years ahead of the rest and had the resources to get ahead. And arguably, the league is far more competitive and a better quality than it was when Ferguson was a manager. Because there was some fucking duds in the Premier League.
Yeah. No.
Well, I'll just say this now, and this is as a Liverpool fan. I think it's outrageous that we're comparing Rodgers and Alex Ferguson.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that you could put Rodgers in Fergie's boots, and he could have come out with the same. Just saying.
Ooh.
Fucking hell.
Well, I'll stand corrected. I know it's a bold word. Did he have to do much tactically? Did he not just set out the same thing week in, week out?
Ferguson.
Yeah.
I guess in many ways he did.
He just found like for likes. He found a winning formula and credit for that. But did he change the game? Did he do what Guardiola does now? Or
I think the biggest thing about Ferguson was the mentality in the team, which was like a draw is a loss. Where it was like if the team came in drawing 1-1 with Tottenham or Liverpool, Ferguson was going to scream at them in the dressing room and say like, "You fucking well, I don't know what he said. He said in a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
You fucking Egypt.
You fucking Egypt. Anyway, you couldn't draw like, and the idea that like you'd have to keep going until the last minute. I know it was romanticized to the point of being like mythology, that it's just, it wasn't really like that, but that's the perception people have of it, and that's important too. The perception people have of the club and what it means, even if it's not true. Like, I mean, they weren't, going to like, they didn't win every game, they didn't go to the last minute in every game, but it was the idea that people had, like, oh, United, they never give up. And without Ferguson, that idea or mythology is gone. Like, no one says like, we have to die for the fucking shirt, because that's what they did in the past. It's like
the thing, I mean, it's kind of biased now, because I guess the person who's saying it didn't end. They have a bad relationship now. But if you listen to what Keane says about a lot of that success with United, in his words, after training, at halftime, after games, a lot of that came from players rather than Fergie.
But yeah, that he delegated a lot to his assistant manager. That he delegated every training session. He did a Football Manager on it. It was delegated to assistant manager.
Send the coach.
He was just like, let them do. Because I remember hearing him talk about it, saying his assistant, I forget, was just his assistant manager. He came to him one day and said, I'm not doing anything here. Why don't you just let me take charge of training? Let me do something. And Ferguson was like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't, but he gave him a chance anyway. And after a while, he was like, yeah, this is brilliant. I shouldn't be setting out fucking training cones for players to run around and telling them to pass the ball. My assistant manager is here to do that for me. He has to do that. And I only worry about saying, okay, this is how we're going to win the match. We're going to, go out there, give him the motivational speech or whatever the fuck. And it worked brilliant. But all his assistant managers who went on to become managers, like that, who's that Portuguese guy, Carlos Queiroz?
Yeah, Steve McLaren.
Yeah, all of them. They never went on to much themselves. It was like they're water boys, really, but like really good water boys.
I mean, when you say Steve McLaren, yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean,
barely a water boy.
The importance of a good water boy, like, I mean, Steve McLaren on his own shit. Steve McLaren doing something, telling players what to do. And Ferguson running things and saying, this is how we're going to play. That worked pretty well.
Yeah.
He was, in essence, a manager.
I mean, that's what you have to do. I mean...
And he hired, in a sense, like, leaders.
Yeah, it's like you have to just hire the best people to do the job that you give them. I mean, that's why he bought Van Persie. It's like, fuck it. Well, every season we'll buy the best player in the league. We'll buy Van Persie. We'll buy whoever, York, anyone.
Yeah.
But he's still
Cole,
yeah. But he still he didn't just buy the best player in the league every year, though. I do have to point that out. Like, I mean, look, Rooney. Everyone knew Rooney was going to be that. Ronaldo, he fucking bought Ronaldo. He made Ronaldo.
There was a lot of hype for Ronaldo. Even at the time, there was hype for Ronaldo.
There was a bit of hype.
Well,
there was a bit of hype.
What I'm saying
there was
is,
hype around Markovic as well, and fucking Rodgers bought him. Would Ferguson have bought Markovic? No, he wouldn't. He bought. I know he bought shit as well, but I just think.
What I think is the point I was making earlier is that we always hang Rodgers by, oh well, he signed these terrible players. I think there's a lot more managers that have done very much the same and come away with the same or less success.
A lot less than what Rodgers did.
Pochettino.
Well, I do just want to say, I don't think people think of Rodgers as signing bad players. And that's why I made the point, because people think he signed great players, because he did sign Coutinho, he did sign Sturridge, and a couple of others who were good. But they do very quickly forget he spent a lot of money.
Well, look, what I think of Rodgers, I think if he's the manager that made Liverpool a title challenger, like a legitimate, not this, when Leicester were winning the league and like Arsenal finished second and Tottenham finished like whatever third.
Yep.
And people were like, oh, Pochettino came close there. He was put the pressure on. Pochettino's never been close to winning the league.
Nah.
Rodgers was a legitimate he could have won the league that season.
He was a couple of goals away from winning the league.
So close to winning the league, and I mean, by the toss of a coin, he could have won the league. And
I mean, by a couple of goals by Dwight Gale's couple of goals away from winning the league.
Yeah, Palace fucked them definitely. Okay, fine.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, but Pochettino, a lot of these guys have Pochettino's legacy. What's his legacy? Getting to the Champions League final and losing.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the thing is with Pochettino though, to play like devil's advocate with him, because I agree with what you're saying. I can see him. It's not the team he's going to go to, but I can see him go to like Atletico Madrid and make them a solid championship contending team. He has the coaching skills, he has the expertise, but I mean, it's like a Formula 1 driver driving a Citroen Saxo. I mean, he can do the best with what he has, but he's still limited. So to bring it back to the big game tomorrow, let's get a quick prediction on
final prediction.
Yeah, final prediction.
I'll say 1-0 Liverpool.
Okay, very conservative. After all that,
they're gonna win. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I think, do you know what, I said 2-0 Liverpool. I don't think it will be. I think it'll probably be 2-1.
Okay. So you can actually see United score.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay, fair.
But I think they'll have too much. It could. If it's 5-1, please don't be like, you fucking retard.
Actually, yeah.
But it could be fucking 5-1 Liverpool, or it could be 1-0 United. I don't think it'll be 3-0 United.
Okay,
but I think 2-1.
That's
2-1.
fair.
2-1.
That's fair. I'm gonna go for a bit different. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. I honestly think that this is a game where it either is like last year, where it's just a stalemate. Liverpool are too nervous to take the risk, and United just have that game plan of just nullifying the game. Feel free once the result comes out to do as Adrian says and call us absolute pricks for getting it completely wrong. Leave your comments in the YouTube page.
Yeah.
Feel free to subscribe us on YouTube, or subscribe to us, I should say, on YouTube. The PUPcast Podcast. Also, give us a like on Facebook. The PUPcast. We're nearing 1,300 likes. Push us over the edge. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for listening. This has been the PUPcast.
Yeah.
Have a good month.
Dave, I never said you were a snake.
I did.
And I also did.